It was really strange, and it was awkward after, because they opened the curtains and everyone was there, and they were like, "This girl across from me has just got diagnosed with cancer." My name is Summer. I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which is ALL for short, when I was 18. My early stages before my diagnosis were the bruising. So I had 20 bruises in 10 days. Hadn't knocked myself or anything, they would just appear out of nowhere. And that was quite worrying. And this is when I got quite suspicious of it all. I started taking photos of the bruises just to kind of like log, because I was like, this isn't right. Like, when you kind of notice something but you're not sure. And I feel quite ashamed that I didn't realise that it was a symptom of a cancer as well, because obviously no one ever thinks they've got cancer, but because there's such a typical thing for leukemia, and that thing, it never entered my head once that, oh, it could be this. The other one was that I was tired. I was sleeping a lot, so I just got a full-time job and we assumed it was that. But then I realised that I was sleeping a lot more and I was getting out of breath, and I was quite a physically fit person, and for me to go up a flight of stairs and be out of breath was quite unusual. I'd come home, I'd eat my dinner, and I'd go to bed. I'd wake up the next morning. It was a constant cycle of I would sleep more than I should be. Even if I didn't sleep, you could tell I was tired, like bags under my eyes. I was really pale in colour. And that's when other people started getting worried. More so now, but back then, before I was diagnosed, I was very aware of what was happening with my body, and I knew when something was wrong. Obviously, not necessarily know what was wrong, but I was very in touch with my body, and I knew that I needed something to be checked. A year or so before this all happening, I actually was low in folic acid and iron, so I had 3 monthly blood tests, just to check up on those. And that's why I thought, oh, maybe it's my iron again, maybe I need some injections, or obviously you try and think of a reason why this is happening. And I was like, oh, I really need a blood test. And because they knew my previous history, they were like, okay, that's fine. So I had the blood test around midday on the Monday, and I was, this is not the best thing to happen, but I was asleep and it was 2 o'clock in the morning and 111 called our home. I had a shift. I had to get up at 6 in the morning for work, so I was not impressed that I was being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning by this doctor. And obviously, they're not allowed to diagnose you over the phone. And he was like, "But can you tomorrow go to the GP, get an appointment as soon as you can?" And I was like, "Right, okay, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll go down, queue out outside, kind of thing, and get an appointment." So I went back to sleep, and that's exactly what I did next morning. And again, they're not allowed to diagnose me. So they signed me off work. And I'm like, okay, not thinking anything of it. They're like, oh, something's come up in your bloods. So, right, okay, maybe my iron again. So they've signed me off work for the foreseeable, not said anything. And they're like, can you drive to Canterbury Hospital? Okay, I'll drive to Canterbury. Drove myself with my mum. And I get put into A&E, big open ward where they only have the curtains to shut for privacy. Doctor comes in with his team. There's about 20 people sat in front of me. They're doing this massive speech about how they looked into my bloods, and then they dropped the L word. So they're like, oh, leukemia. And I'm like, sorry, what? They're like, oh, you've got leukemia.